Hello, I'm Max and I'm still working on a very unique auto battler made with Bevy as a full-time solo indie developer. And since last time I actually released the first build since I moved to Bevy. I wanted to finish that before Bevy Jam starts, so now I'm having a week break from a game to make another game, I guess. The build is ready to play on each for Windows and Mac. Right now it's very bare bones, but main gameplay loop is there with a bunch of heroes and enemies to play around. The main thing is you can play infinitely, because new enemy levels will be generated once you finish existing ones. But beware not to get too strong, because the stronger you are, the stronger your enemies will become. Try to build a ladder as big as you can before finally being defeated. This is only a half of gameplay that I want, the other half will require multiplayer and should be a lot of fun, so stay tuned because I plan to finish it before the end of this year. You can check out the game right now on itch and let me tell you how exactly I got there from last time. First, I improved my description panels. It is very important to provide all the info about the mechanics to the player and make it as accessible as possible. So now when you hover any unit, you see the full description with any used definitions on the side panels. Also, you see any statuses that the unit has and their values are also inlined in the text. As you might have seen before, to create new heroes I basically edit raw files with my bare hands. And it worked okay for a while. I have hot reloading and doing it this way is not terribly inefficient. But still I found myself not feeling too motivated to work on content using such instruments. It's easy to make a mistake and I have to keep looking in the code to see what kind of expressions I can use and their signature. Worst of all, I can't for the life of me figure out one problem. Whenever I get an error parsing a ROM file, I get only an error but no file name. This made some refactorings particularly painful. I use Bevy dynamic assets to load everything in the folder, so if anyone knows how to fix that, please help me, I beg you. But anyway, one day after working on some more heroes, I thought, man, since I am using IGUI now, it would actually be so damn easy to implement some sort of editor for these expressions. I got inspired by their nodes example, since my expression system works the same way. Expressions are sort of functions that can be nested one into the other, and this way I can create any logic by composing them and extending the function list. But when it's in a formatted ROM file and expression has a lot of nested parts, it looks fucking scary and really hard to read. So I wanted to try to make an editor really quick with the hope that I will manage it in a couple of days and it will eventually save me some time. I have some history of making this sort of editor in the past, but with my own UI system, and it took shit ton of time and wasn't even that helpful. I basically wasted a couple of weeks, so I was really careful not to fall into that pit again. And in the first day, I made the first version, using collapsing headers, kinda like the node example in IGUI demo. I liked how quickly I managed to make something working, but still it wasn't really nice to use. I needed some improvements. After working, I kept thinking about how to improve it, then I realized, when I was writing expressions in RON, it was easy to read when everything was in a single line. Like, I see the chain of functions right when I read them. Why not make it the same way in the editor? And the best part is that for functions with multiple arguments, I can actually draw them vertically and split the line in two. With IGUI layout, it is super easy. So the next day I managed to make this. When working on it, I tried to make the workflow as fast and convenient as possible. I actually kinda love making development instruments. When I had an actual job, I loved making instruments for our team, figuring out the most useful design and not being constrained by having to make it pretty for users. So one thing I wanted to make is autocomplete. I want to start typing the function I need and then just pick one from results. Now when you click any function and start typing, a list of buttons with expressions that start with that will pop up. You can click them or press tab to select the first one. And all the arguments of replaced function will be copied to the new one. Then you can also click the brackets to wrap existing function into a new one or delete all the contents within it. You can also remove outer function, placing the content into its place. When I was done with expressions, I extended the editor to support everything that a hero consists of. I had to add all of unit's simple fields like name, description and stats, and then triggers and effects. Those are also enums in the code, they are nested into one another and also use expressions. So in similar fashion, I made editors for all of them, and then I had a working hero editor. I also wanted to be able to test game mechanics in the editor. For example, if I make a hero that shoots a magic missile at the start of the battle, I want to be able to spawn an enemy and send a start battle event to see him do that. So this is what my hero editor currently looks like. I am really glad I spent time on it, because now I can not just type the values and see changes on save, I can actually drag values and see continuous changes, which is so much better for coming up with new visuals. Not to say that it's way quicker when I see all the available options for all the enums. And I can't really make a typo. And to actually save a hero, I've added a clipboard support. I can load a config from the clipboard and save active hero there to be pasted into a file within game assets. With this new editor I made some more heroes. One of the cooler ones is a hero I call Doppelganger. He has a full copy ability which copies everything from another hero. I thought implementing it would take me like 10 minutes, but it actually took me about 3 hours and required refactoring of some game's part. Still, I'm happy with how it turned out. Right now I made a bunch more heroes and I made this little gallery to show them off, so here they are. After that, I've started polishing the game because I realized that I'm actually very close to having something playable. I polished UI a little bit and reworked my system for playing animations. Specifically, I wanted to have a clear sequence of actions, but I need some control whether something will be played simultaneously or in sequence. I've spent quite some time reworking that, but in the end I'm happy with how it looks. I've retouched the text message VFX and now battle looks way better. I've also tried to work a bit on performance, because in debug build with even a few heroes I get FPS drops. So I tried running flame graph to see where the bottleneck is, but to my fucking surprise it works smooth as butter when I run it with flame graph. I have no idea why, and yes, I'm sure that it's not running the release build. I basically get 10 FPS on debug build run from VS Code, and it's easy 60, which is max, on debug with flame graph. I basically gave up because what matters is the performance of release build, but still would be nice to have some good performance while developing. If you have any idea what I can do, please help. Here is all I have in my cargo file right now. I did a bunch more improvements before being done with the build. Biggest of all is the battle animation system rework and following music and rewinding support. Now battle actions are synced to a beat and you can rewind it with music playback rate changing accordingly. This is actually so good. I was so happy with how it turned out. It's so fun to play around with the rewinding controls, and it's especially good for making new VFX animations. Now I can watch them play out really closely. So there you go, this was one of the most productive time in a while, and I plan to do more regular updates since the game is out now. I also plan to showcase the game at some local event very soon. It's always great to see new people play and try to figure out the game. Now it's time to crush the Bevy gem. I will stream the whole thing of course and make a video about it after. Thank you for watching and I will see you later.